Shalom, Akim. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. I want to give double honors to the elders at Great Millstone that rule very well, and blessings to all the Akim out there that are doing the work in sincerity and truth on the four corners of the earth. Call halal Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Majana Sabak upon you. The topic of this video is about austerity. All right, because let me click on that. Because one thing about being in this truth, you have to understand that men of the Lord back in the ancient world, they were rough men, you know. They were real men, you know. So they didn't take any BS, man. All right. And I'm gonna bring out a few scriptures to prove that, because you have different prophets, you know. Because this is another thing you have to understand. You have brothers, you know, that come from different walks of life. You know, some of them come up, you know, with a hard life, you know. Some of them didn't come up with a not so hard life, you know. You know, they probably grew up in the suburbs. You know, some of us might have grown up in you know, the ghettos, you know. But and that's how it also was back in the ancient world, you know. Because Daniel, I give an example. Daniel was he was in a high office, you know. But let me see if I can get another example. Yeah, well, I can say this for other prophets. They really didn't have a place to stay. And actually, Yahweh Shai, you know, he spoke in the scriptures saying that he had no place to rest his head, you know. You know, it said the Son of Man doesn't have a place to rest his head. In other words, he was always on the go. He really didn't have a place to stay. He didn't have his own house or anything like that, you know. He was always on the go because he had a mission. All right. So let me get back to these scriptures. I'm gonna bring out just a few scriptures, and I'm gonna explain them just to prove this point. Now, this is John chapter 2, verse 13. Now, this is when Yahushua came back, and this is when he was pissed off. All right. So let me read it. This is John chapter 2, verse 13. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Yahushua, and let me bring this out as well. Yahushua is that's the real name of the so-called Jesus. You know, right? That's his real name. All right, not Yahushua, because Yahushua is Yiddish, and Yiddish is a mixture of German and Hebrew. All right, the pure Hebrew is Paleo Hebrew. So Yahushua is the Paleo Hebrew. That's how you say it in the Paleo Hebrew, is Yahushua. All right. So, and Yahushua went up to Jerusalem and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves in the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, now, in other words, he made a whip. All right. He actually got a whip, you know, because it said he made a scourge of small cords, you know, small cords, you know, at the end of the whip, it was small cords. All right. And he said he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money and overthrew the tables. All right. Because he was mad, man. He was pissed off. All right. Because it was the Passover. All right. And the Passover is supposed to be a solemn assembly. All right. It's supposed to be serious. It's supposed to be a serious assembly. All right. You're not supposed to do any type of business during the Passover, man. That's a major offense, man. Because the Passover is something to commemorate when Yahweh, the Most High, led the children of Israel, led the Israelites out of Egypt. All right. And this is a high holy day. All right. So it's supposed to be taken serious. But when he came back, they were exchanging money. They were doing business, you know. They weren't reverencing the Passover. All right, that's why he was mad. That's why he grabbed a whip and started whipping wicked Israelites out of them, man. That's why he started whipping those wicked men out of there. He's literally flipping over tables just to get to him, man. All right. Oh yeah, that's right here in verse 16. And said unto them that sold doves, take these things hence. That means take them away. Make not my father's house an house of merchandise. Right. So basically, that's one point to bring out that Yahushua, man. He's not playing, man. He wasn't playing. He doesn't play about the Passover, man. He doesn't play in general, man, because he's an austere man. All right. And I'm gonna bring out this scripture right here. This is Luke chapter 19, verse 22. All right. So it says, and he saith unto him, out of thy own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. Thou knewest that I was an austere man, taking up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Right. So he said, out of thy own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. All right. Thou knewest that I was an austere man. Now, this is actually talking about Yahushua himself. All right. He's saying he was an austere man, because one thing that actually you can see, and it's in plain sight. Back at Luke chapter 19 verse 20. All right. So they all came back, and early on during the parable, it said saying Lord. The first came saying Lord, the second came saying Lord. Now the word Lord there is capitalized. All right. So that gives you a hint at what this parable is talking about. All right. Who the master is, or who the Lord is. He was talking about himself when he was speaking about this parable. All right. He said, thou knewest that I was an austere man. All right. Now let's look up that word austere. Should be austeros. But just to bring this out, of mind and manners, harsh, rough, rigid. All right. So basically, all this sums it up in a nutshell. So he was a harsh man. All right. He was strict. All right. Actually, let me pull up etymology real quick. And see, austere. Should say the same thing. Yeah, it's an adjective. All right. So it says indirectly from austerus, from the Latin. Actually, early 14th century from Old French, austere. Directly from Latin, austeros, dry, harsh. That's that word again. Sour, tart. From Greek, we just got through looking at it. Greek, austeros. Bitter, harsh. All right. So basically, he was actually, here's another one down here. Use in English is figurative, which means stern, severe. All right. And it's just very simple, but basically it's stern, severe. All right. Harsh, sour. So he was an austere man. All right. Like I said before, man, he wasn't playing. He doesn't play. All right. He came on this earth to do his job, man. So he was a harsh man, man. He had that kind of look, if he looked at you, then you'd be put in fear, man. Because the men of the Lord back in the ancient world, men of the Lord, they were built, man. They were tall. They're taller than the men that are here right now, man. Because the scriptures also speak about I believe it's a parable. It's saying that I can't say it exactly what it is, just roughly paraphrasing. But after a while, the same, you won't have the same physical how should I put it? You won't have the same I would say physical attributes that people used to have back in the day. Because I give an example, like bodybuilders, back in the day, they were stronger than bodybuilders today, man. Cause they were pulling trucks and 18 wheels and stuff by themselves, man, with no help. And they were smaller. They were smaller than the bodybuilders that are here right now, man. Because the bodybuilders here right now are like giant, but they don't have the same strength as the people back in the day. They were smaller, but they had more strength. All right. Because everything in this society is dumbed down. Everything is dumbed down in the society that we're in right now. Because this is Esau's kingdom. All right. All right. Now getting back to the point. Let's see. Luke, same chapter. Verse 27. And this is what he said as well. But those my enemies, which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. Right. He said, but those my enemies, which would not that I should reign over them. That means the people that don't even want him to rule. All right. He said, bring hither and slay them before me. All right. So he said, you know what, if these people don't want me to rule over them, then bring them before me and slay them, man, behead them. All right. Bring them before my feet and just chop their head off. All right. And that's the type of man he was. All right. And that was righteous, man. That's righteous in the sight of the Most High. All right. Because the Most High only said his love for Israel, man. It spoke about it in Deuteronomy, in the book of Deuteronomy, man. All right. Chapter 7, verse 6, specifically. In Psalms 140, 147 and 19 as well. All right. So the Israelites are supposed to be rulers, man. All right. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, we're supposed to be kings and priests, man. We're supposed to be ruling, man. We're supposed to be in rulership, but we're in the state that we're in right now because we went off. And that's another topic for another video. I'm gonna get back to the point. So this is the next one. This is John chapter 18, verse 36. All right. And let me just bring this out. So Yahushua answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then with my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. And we're not even in his kingdom right now, man. His kingdom hasn't even been established yet. The kingdom won't be established until he comes back and establishes himself. All right. And that's when the elect, the 144,000 of all the tribes of Israel, is going to be raised up. All right. That's when his servants will fight. When he come and conquers. All right. Because he's going to come back and he's going to conquer. All right. He's not going to come back with lollipops and flowers and everybody singing Kumbaya. He's going to come back with a sword. All right. Just prepare yourself for that. All right. All right. So I'm going to get the next one. Not only Yahushua was an austere man. All right. So let me give you another example. David, he was a warrior, man. And he was also a man after the Most High's heart. All right. So this is 1 Samuel chapter 29, verse 5. Is not this David, of whom they sang one to another in dances, saying, Saul slew his thousands, and David his 10,000s. All right. See, Saul at one point, he had the spirit on him at one point, but then it was taken away. All right. But then David came about, and we all know about David. David was a straight up warrior. All right. And he slew his 10,000s. All right. So David was a man of the Lord, but he also was a warrior. Okay. Now here's the next one. Psalms chapter 43, verse 12. This is David speaking. And of thy mercy cut off my enemies and destroy all them that afflict my soul, for I am thy servant. Right. It said, and of thy